Yo, 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 what is up, everybody out there? Happy Friday night. I always get that wrong. Friday night. Sorry, we're starting about 9 minutes late. Can you imagine that we had technical difficulties before starting this? That was like absolutely absurd to think of that we would ever have technical difficulties. But here we are. Got a hell of a team of celebrities up here with me tonight. Famous country musician KJ up here. We got Baker the man of the hour. Gutters Pub, who is rising as constantly upgrading computer equipment, all that jazz. Next thing you know, she's going to be syndicated all over America. And of course, we got LW, the mouth of Houston, coming here joining us. Here we are. What's up, guys? Take it away from me.
What's up, good people? Glad to be back on another fun Friday night. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Yeehaw. Here we go.
So Gutters, real quick, you want to brag about your newfound fame there and your lovely new assets?
Oh, I have a new asset. My fanciest part of it is this mic cover, and it's very soft and it's very fuzzy, and it covers the tip and it keeps everything nice. So, but I love.
This is turning in a different direction all of a sudden.
Right, going downhill. We should have quit while we were behind.
But I love my new headphones. They're a little big, but I do love how they sound. And yeah, I love all my stuff.
Well, good. Good to hear it. What about you, KJ? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, good. Dealing with a sick toddler this week, so I'm excited about tonight. Ready to get into all the cool info and scary stuff.
Yeah, we've been digging into a lot of research here. Looking into this stuff. Everybody was telling me, like, what the hell, you picked this topic? Now everybody's been freaked out all week looking into this stuff, so it should get interesting. Baker, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing just fine. I'm burning up hot. I'm melting here. I'm not used to this heat anymore. This is some bullshit. I moved up here to get away from this crap.
Well, I guess it does get hot everywhere. It's hot as hell here too.
Yeah.
So,
but I do not have a sick toddler, nor do I have a toddler. So there's that. I got that going for me.
But you are sick.
In the head, of course. Absolutely. You guys are sicker than me. You invite me here. I'm like, what's going on with that?
Now, I will say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, I will say, researching this topic the last couple of days, if later tonight I'm hiding in the closet and I can't sleep, I'm calling all of you on the phone, and you're gonna help me through this. Okay.
Listen, LW, it's Pride Month. We've gotten you out of the closet once already. It's okay. We can make it happen.
That is
not only did you walk into that, you ran into that.
That was well played. Well played, sir.
That was good.
Oh, geez. What does everybody think about the, real quick, before we get into this topic, we like to talk about something fun. And I do want to say hey to some people in chat before we dive into it too. But what about the big breakup there with, Elon and Trump? Boy, this has been quite the funny thing to watch. I think these people are losing their minds right and left. Like the people on the left, now they don't know if they should burn the Teslas or buy them. And the people on the right, they don't know if they should. Twitter has been, or X, whatever you want to call it, has been an absolute just shit show and fun to sit back and watch. Yep. Anybody got any funny takes on that or anything?
Well, I did remember a certain gentleman, LW, predicted this on Gigi's show about 5 months ago. I said these two will break up in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The egos are too big.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's psychotic. Or psychic. Sorry, one or the other.
Well,
both.
What's the off chance that this is some kind of a psyop?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think they've been, anybody who thought this was going to last 4 years is an absolute moron. I mean, there's no way possible these two guys could get along for 4 years without having some kind of, hissy fit. I saw the one that, the Babylon Bee, they put out a thing saying that Vladimir Putin offered to arrange a peace deal between Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
And then Zelensky bombed it.
Right.
LW sent me a meme the other day, and it was actually sent it to Fools too, and it was who was it? Donald Trump and Mark Zuckerberg, and Donald Trump was kind of leaning into Mark Zuckerberg, and it said, "Do you know how to build rockets?"
Oh, geez. Yeah, too much. Yeah, it's too fun. I mean, it's all just to sit back and watch now at this point. George makes it good. It's all just theater anyway.
Right.
None of that really matters. This isn't a political Friday night. We do that on Gutters on Tuesday nights. Anybody want politics? Go over to Gutters Pub every Tuesday night at, what is that, 10 o'clock real time Eastern Standard Time. That is the time to go over there.
Yes, 7 o'clock real time.
Right. So we won't do that's not really politics, but yeah, talking about making fun of Elon and Trump isn't really politics, but it was funny. I was listening to earlier today, I was listening Vintage Vibes, LW. I know you've been over there a lot too. I was listening to that and they were showing Art Bell's final stream. And it was funny because it was all about the 2000s. It was like during the heat of the 2016 election cycle. Mm-hmm. So all the people were calling in, talking with Art Bell about the 2016 election cycle. It was really funny, like to sit back and listen to that. So y'all, just to hear the callers and the different thing, it was like, it seems like a lifetime ago, 2016,
right?
With all the shit that's happened with the Kung Flu and all the nonsense has gone on since then. But to sit back and watch that was really cool. I sat there and listened to the whole show. Vintage Vibes. Everybody should go check that channel out. Fucking awesome.
Wasn't it 2016 when the dead internet theory supposedly kicked off?
Well, I'm not sure.
It's basically since 2016, there's been more bots that's inundated the internet. So you're not really interacting with people. You're just kind of, interacting with a bot apparently. And they said it's exponentially getting worse and worse and worse. I used to not believe in it, but man, I'm starting to believe in that crap more and more.
You mean all those, beautiful, voluptuous, 23-year-old women that message me on X every day, like 50 of them? Those aren't real people.
You don't get 50?
I'm in a lot of trouble if those aren't real people.
Like, wait a minute. I just really thought that many people liked me.
Right.
That's
it
crazy.
really means you have no friends.
Well, thanks.
There's like one picture of the same Asian lady, and she has like 500 different accounts and names.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Or is that a racist joke?
It could be if you want. I mean,
Leave it to LW. Always got to have one in the crowd. Always got to have one in the crowd.
I mean, what are you really trying to say? That they all look alike?
I'm not racist. Sometimes I have flare-ups in traffic, but I'm not racist.
That's what we call them now. Flare-ups. That has nothing to do with it.
They got a cream for that.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, and grand opening, grand closing, folks. Let me say hey to a few people in here before we jump into this ever so freaky topic we got going on. Who we got coming in? We got Gumby coming in here first. Hi, friends. What's up, Gumby? Andy Heinrich, Lays and Blaze in here. Iron Wolf. What's up, Nils? Good to see you. B Bean in here. Anasty, Kentucky Blue Balls. Stingray. Good to see it. Stingray. We got Lays and Blaze. We got Mishka in here. Good to see you. Mishka. TK. What's up, TK? Good to see you too. Matt Dummett, the Maven. What's up, Maven? Goose Sports. What's up, Goose Sports? We got Karen from HR checking in on us with Dozers in here too. Let's see who else. If I miss your name, it's not on purpose. Just scrolling through here kind of fast so we can get to the topic. We got George in here. Good to see you, George. Todd Zagon. Not sure how you say it, but good to see you, Todd. I think it's Todd. Maybe it says Ted. Hell, I can't tell. It's so far away. Maybe I need glasses. George in here. Good to see you, George. Tim Prangley. What's up, Mitt? The best real estate agent west of the Mississippi. Anybody needs help, call Mitt. Let's see. We have I said George is in here. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. He's everywhere. Good to see you, Daniel Berry. We got Curator. What's up, Curator? Love that program the other night. That was super cool, Curator. Hoghead's in here. Good to see you, Hoghead. Dave Brown, the Bourbon Hunter, my hero. Good to see you, Dave Brown, as always. And this is streaming out. This is going out on X. This is going out live here on YouTube at Traveling Fools. It's going out on Gutters Pub. It's going out on LW. We got people watching this on all kinds of platforms. No matter where you are, we're glad to have you here. One of y'all needs to do that next time.
No.
I think you could probably do it better.
No, I think not.
You don't think so? KJ, next time you're going to do it.
I don't know. You do pretty good. I'm going to be honest.
It's hard to read sometimes. Hard to get going. I'm going to try to do it all in one breath. That's like the thing. And then light a cigarette, and like,
Right.
Hey, what's up, Pat Pfeiffer? Good to see you too. So, yeah, I guess any other cool things that have happened? Anything funny? Anybody got any funny things to tell before we scare the bejesus out of each and every one of ourselves?
Well, I saw a news story and it's just weird that it broke during Pride Month, but apparently they invented a pill that helps moody lesbians. It's called Tricoxagen. You guys heard that?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I'll be here all night.
Yeah.
I did have a funny I laughed about it for 2 days. I have a weird sense of humor, but I was at Walmart and I was in the frozen food aisle or whatever. And all of a sudden I hear this lady behind me scream. She just screams to the top of her lungs, "Kathleen, I fucking told you they didn't have butterscotch waffles." And I turned to see if she's looking at, and this lady's in like one of those drive around cart things. And it was just, if you saw the two people, it would make sense to you and be funny. But Kathleen, I told you there was no fucking butterscotch waffles. So that means there was a lead up to that conversation, right?
Right.
So I had to create like a whole sitcom in my head. They were driving to the store arguing about if Walmart had fucking butterscotch waffles.
Yeah, there was an argument. That's
Right.
the part. I mean,
So it all culminated in the aisle. Kathleen, I fucking told you.
Now,
You only want to go to one store.
Right. Let me ask you, LW, why was this person in one of those drive around things?
They were a bit large. I mean,
So probably from eating butterscotch waffles and putting syrup on top of them in every day of their life. And yeah, like butterscotch, like you put syrup on waffles. What the fuck?
I didn't know there was.
I didn't either.
butterscotch waffles.
and for the last 48 hours, that scenario pops into my head like every couple of hours.
Kathleen.
It's like going to breakfast at some old person's house and you're like digging into that candy jar and getting a Werther's original while you go in there to eat waffles.
Ooh, I do love Werther's.
Well,
though.
everybody loves a Werther's. Everybody's been to their grandparents' house once or twice. Werther, you got a little bucket.
I worked for old people. You graciously accept whatever they give you that's edible, but don't ever put it near your mouth. I'm just telling you, don't.
That's just good life advice.
Yeah,
Don't put it in your mouth.
don't.
That sounds like really bad advice, Baker.
If I had a nickel,
Oh boy. Oh boy, we're going good tonight. We're going good. Controversial cruising. Good to see you too, brother. Good to see you. As always, Scott. Yeah, Katie, you didn't have to walk into that one, but
Hell, she ran.
I know. Diving head first.
You have a mouth on your shirt.
well, actually, the first time I met Gutter, she was wearing a Rolling Stones.
Yes.
So yeah, and I was like, oh, I got one. Yeah.
Now I got my Buzzed and Loaded, which is one of my buddy's bands.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
It's a kind of cool band name, Buzzed and
That
Loaded.
is cool.
Yeah, that's a good band name.
He also has a band now called they just started it and it's called the Drunken Old Buzzards. It's pretty good. He's so funny.
Drunken Old Buzzards. All right, I like that
Pretty
too.
good.
I sense a theme.
Yeah, just a bit.
What would that theme be?
Well, I don't want to comment, but I know their next band name will be called Driving Under the Influence.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's good. Did you just get? Did that just pop out?
Again, I'll be here all night.
Yeah, it's like the T-shirt's like an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
You have to pick up trash.
That's actually really good.
KJ, you remember that guy that we knew? Same person I was talking about last week or the week before. That when I was talking about the two brothers that went to the flea market and bought the bulletproof jacket and tested it by shooting each other.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? You remember
Yeah.
the one, he got a driver's license when he was 16 years old, got a DUI that day, and never had a driver's license again, but managed to get like 11 more DUIs.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like 11 more DUIs. He only had a driver's license for like 7 hours of his life.
Sounds like DUIs worked for him just fine. I mean,
He was one of those people, they would just, let him out. I don't know how that works with some people. They just let you out. Like,
It
okay,
is.
you
It
can
is
go.
crazy. Yeah.
some,
I have
And that
to-
was a long time ago,
yeah. Some
Yeah.
people are just smooth like butter. They just no matter what, man, they go in a bucket of shit and come out smelling like roses every time.
Mhm.
It almost makes you
Mhm.
wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did they tell on?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Pat Pfeiffer. Yeah, what do I got trapped behind the screen? She says that's going into the topic here shortly. Yeah, we're gonna talk about we're trying to find a cool topic to talk about here every Friday night, something not necessarily like a conspiracy or anything like this. It's a weird, different topic, something cool. Tonight we're gonna be talking about shadow people, Hatman, and sleep paralysis, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to get creepy up in here. It's going to be kind of fun. And then we'll open up the line. If anybody wants to call in, they can come on and tell their experiences or anything like that. We would love to hear that from people. But first, we're going to go over the topic. Let me, before we start, everybody tell, like, how was your, we all watched some videos, kind of refreshed our memories on these. What did y'all think of this? LW, you want to go first? Let's just go in line. It makes it easier. LW, what did you think?
Well, I had to take some breaks here and there because it's pretty creepy, pretty dark stuff. But I believe the people. I watched a lot of people talking about their experience, and I 100% believe them. But it was very interesting stuff. Very creepy too.
What do you think, Gutters?
Well, I thought it was. I mean, when you first brought this up to me, I kind of was like, oh yeah, I really didn't know a whole lot about it. However, the more I dug into it, the more I realized I did know quite a bit about it. So one of the things that I do think maybe of something more not so creepy as it is being in between that whole sleep and awake thing and hitting that hard line if you're really stressed or whatever. And I think a lot of that has to do with this kind of stuff. However, there are some that does not explain it away. So then it makes you wonder if there is really something more creepy or, sinister than just your brain playing tricks on you. So.
All right, KJ.
Well, right when you said that, there was like a noise and my dog looked at me and I looked at her. But anyway, so I'm not even kidding. Anyway, no, I have to say that some of it, I don't believe everybody, because I just think that's the human nature, to kind of jump on the bandwagon with stuff. However, it was like, the Hatman, there was certain that I didn't know exactly, but once I dug into it, more, I was like, oh, well, this is associated with that. This is where this comes from. Then it was more familiar to me. But I didn't know like the origins and that type of thing. So that was pretty interesting, / scary. I would have to say definitely the woman is scarier to me. Just saying.
The old hag.
Oh man. Like last night, I couldn't go to bed till like super late. I was like, and I was just reading on it, not watching anything. And I think maybe that reading freaks me out more, a little more than watching it. I think. Yeah.
Well, sometimes reading something can be more like scarier than seeing something because, kind of like old Alfred Hitchcock movies and things like that. When you were looking at, he left it to your imagination to see, and your imagination is scarier
Mm-hmm.
than, some CGI or some, fake looking thing in your mind you're envisioning. It's like when you read a good book and you're like, oh my, and you have all these characters pictured this certain way. You've read this book, then they make a movie about it and
Mm-hmm.
it ruins it because you're like, wait a minute, why does, such and such character, look like this? That's not what they're supposed to look like. I have it in my mind already. Baker,
Yeah.
what did you think?
Well, between the shadow people and between the Hatman, I mean, it's kind of one and the same. What I found
Mhm.
interesting about this, and just going back over this, is that it reminded me that we don't fully understand the human brain. Like, what are we only using 8% of the capacity? Sleep paralysis could just be I don't know, your mind wanting to be set free. If you look at it from that perspective, or it could be easily explained like, pareidolia. If you guys know what that is, it's
Mm-mm.
pareidolia is it's actually a way that humans pick out. They recognize patterns, right? We recognize patterns. Like if you see a cloud in the sky, it's like, oh well, that looks like I don't know, a box, right? That looks like a cat. Like you pick these things out, and that's what pareidolia is. It's a survival trait that humans evolved with, and mostly like humans that lived in jungles, because if you're looking through a jungle forest and it's pretty much camouflage, it helps you pick out things that are camouflage that might harm or necessarily something we want to hunt. So it's interesting to think that if you see something move in the shadows, is it your brain recognizing a pattern even if there's no pattern to be recognized, or is there really something there? And I find that fascinating. I really do.
Mhm.
But with that being said, every time I heard the phrase old hag, I kept getting Vietnam flashbacks of some of the teachers I had in high school.
Vietnam.
Well, we talked about this earlier. Remember when we went to high school, like every gym teacher looked like, the female version of Sylvester Stallone.
Exactly.
And now they look like,
So
So
now they're the yoga instructor.
right.
when Marv and I first got together, we had talked. We grew up in the same town, except we're 8.5 years different. So we didn't. It's like he was already gone off to do things when I was, graduating. Well, when we started dating, I met his mom's best friend, which was our art teacher when we were growing up. And I said, God, I hated that bitch. He goes, really? That's my mom's best friend. I'm like, oh, that could be a problem, because I did mean things to her. She was actually my leather teacher too. And we did like really mean things to her, like stick thumbtacks in her chair. And, not me personally, but the girls that I hung out with. And I was definitely involved in the sense of, oh yeah, do it. So yeah, we put wet sponges under her butt, and when you work with leather, you kind of lean forward, and then when you sit back, there's
Did
a
you say
wet
she was your
sponge.
leather teacher?
Leather teacher. Yeah, you know how you'll have home ec
Oh, okay.
and I took leather.
I didn't know that was a elective in high school.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
I
was
didn't learn
actually
that till after
super
high
fun.
school.
Oh, it was so much fun. She did really good work too, actually. Like really good work.
I'll bet she did.
Right.
I mean, she was a leather teacher for years, but
Did
yeah.
she look like Sylvester Stallone?
Well, she looked like leather.
So Xena, the warrior princess.
Yeah, she looked like the old hag. I'm not kidding you. She was.
Well, Xena, wait a second.
She wore leather.
Right, but she's cool, right?
Yeah. She didn't look like Xena.
let me imagine it.
She wore horses and wore horses. She rode horses until she was 96. And she died at 97.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I apologized up one side and down the other after, Like, I'm so sorry. I was such a bitch.
We all have our moments.
All right, so I guess let's jump into this. Big shout out there to a few more people before we get going. Yoda T, good to see you as always. Sarah Gua, good to see you as well. Yeah, so where do we start diving into this?
Well, I know it sounded like Gigi had some copious notes on the shadow people, so I think.
Oh, you fuckers! You're gonna make me just start right off. Huh? Well, basically, what I did was I took down notes of the different names that were used. So I tried to kind of stick with that because I knew everybody else would be coming up with all kinds of other things, and Fools was like, do the name thing. So, and there was a lot of different names that people called them. I was actually surprised that there were so many. No, what? How did they pronounce that? Fools?
Where we go? Like the Indians,
The
like
no,
what do you say? Like Nalusa
Yeah.
Cheetos?
yeah, the
Cheetos,
Nalus,
I think
yeah,
it's called.
the Nalusa Cheetos and the Nalusa Filea. And the Filea one, they actually, when you stayed out in the woods, that one would actually chase hunters and little kids. It seemed to like those, so that was kind of interesting. They also called some of them were called Mare and Maras, and I'm not exactly sure who kind of come up with those names. It seems like it was more in the Russians and those type of people that seem to come up with that name, and the Kiki Mora. And then another one, I thought this was pretty interesting.
The Kiki, like the Kiki More, that was like the Russian name for the same thing, correct? I mean, if
Right.
you're looking at, well, let's back up there real quick. Like the Mare or whatever, that's that goes from Germanic, right? Ancient Germanic, and that is what. So they would have a thing, and that means like the person sitting on your chest while you sleep, trying to basically take the air out of you and all that, and that would be the same thing. And that's where the words nightmare comes from, is from ancient Germanic for mare, mara, mara, however you want to say it. But yeah, so anyway, just filling in a little bit there.
And going off of that nightmare, so one of the things that was that the Hmong people, they had
Well, don't go all there yet, you know.
Okay. Well, that was kind of in that whole thing of regarding, the whole names, the different names that they had. And so there was quite, I was surprised at how many names they actually had. I just never thought that there was so many different, a lot of them, they meant the same thing, but some of them did mean different things. Like the gin or some of those, they meant different names. And so, or they meant different things. So I was just kind of surprised at how many different names there were.
Right. Even back like 5,000 years ago, you had like the ancient Sumerians, and I think it was what the Alu, something like that.
Right.
They had that. You speak of the like Arabians and like in Islam as well, they still have that going with the jinn. And like if you're a jinn, like a singular is a jinni, that's where the word genie comes from, because it was something that would go out there and it would like take control of you in your sleep, like, or not necessarily your sleep, but when you're vulnerable. So like at any time like that, and they could be good or bad. That's like, hence the word genie. That's where that came from. But all these, like, to summarize that, all these different cultures had all these different things that are basically the same thing. This thing that would come to you in the night, this thing that would come and take over what you're doing, and haunt you, or any of that. Anybody else got stuff to add to that?
Well, I think it's, sorry.
Nope.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Because I have,
what I think was super interesting is about how people, like you were saying, when people are vulnerable. So it how people, when they're depressed or in a dark place and stuff, that's when people seem to have more experiences. And I think that's pretty telling and scary, but it makes a lot of sense. That would, people would experience all that during those vulnerable times when you're trying to sleep or you're dealing with, trauma or, whatever it is. Anyway, that's all.
So, what I'm curious of, and this is a question for everybody here, but do you have any personal experiences with any of this? Do you have any stories to tell? Because I'd be interested also if we open this up later tonight, somebody coming on and talking, if they have any experience with this. I'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we will. That's the after we get through just going over this for a minute, then we will open it up if anyone wants to call in and tell their experiences. We just figured we'd go over the topic first, right? Yeah, so let's run through it, then we can talk if we have any of our own personal as we open it up for other people. How about that?
Yep.
Yeah. LW, you got anything to add to just kind of the history of it or anything like that, or?
No, y'all pretty much covered everything. It's very interesting on getting to hear you guys' thoughts on like KJ was talking about the mental stress and anxiety and things that I think, and also I can get into later when we tell our stories. I don't have one, but I kind of do. That people who are open to this type of thing seem to be the people who are experience it. If that makes sense.
For sure.
The story I have later will kind of make sense later, but yeah, we can go ahead and proceed.
I never heard of the Hatman, by the way. That was not, anything I heard of. I heard of Slenderman, which is like a more recent. If anyone heard of the Slenderman murders,
you watched that movie, didn't you?
I feel like that was more made up by the internet before it became.
No, I never watched the movie, but I watched a documentary about the murders, the young girls who said the Slenderman told them to do it and all that. So that, but as far as the shadow people, I didn't, the Hatman, no clue. Now the old hag, y'all go on with that. That's some scary stuff.
Well, we're gonna hit on the shadow people first. Just it makes Ed and the Hatman, then we'll hit on the old hag. But so let's go into that. So basically, going into like Hatman, LW, are you more into this one or the other one?
What do you mean? The old hag, Hatman?
Yeah, I mean, you got something you want to say about one or the other before we get going, or?
Oh no, go ahead. I
Okay,
watched
cool.
a lot of the personal stories today on it, and it was pretty fascinating. And they all seem to kind of have the same story, but completely terrifying. Yeah.
I mean, what do they say? Like, what kind of stories? That's kind of.
Oh, it just mixed in with the sleep paralysis, and just that you see this figure, and they all kind of describe it the same way. And the people I saw tell the stories, they were absolutely terrified. I mean, it's kind of like you used to listen to the old Art Bell and the UFO stories. Sometimes you they believed that it happened to them, and that's kind of what I get, that a lot of these people really believe they saw that and they were in the room.
Right, and that's the thing. You always like these people. You believe that they believe what it is, and like we said before, folks, we're just covering topics. It's not necessarily like we believe any of these topics. Either way, we're just covering it down the middle, trying to have fun with it and do something fun on a Friday night that isn't just utter nonsense.
Well, I do want to. I'm going to say one more thing about the Hatman. Okay. All I could think about was the secret window. Johnny Depp.
Go on.
I mean, that's why I was like, wow, the hat, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of that was like, the secret window was pretty trippy. And that's exactly what it reminded me of, was the man in the hat and the secret window. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I don't really remember that. It's been a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's very freaky. I mean, Johnny Depp's a writer, and it's a super cool movie. But he had a hat. He was the man in the hat, and he had that hat on that reminds you of the old time. I mean, what's the time from that hat?
Them olden days, the old times,
them olden day hats.
Type photo going on over here.
But yeah, that's what I thought of. Secret window.
Well, there you go. Well, that's cool. So let's go into that with what Gutters was talking about. And Gutters, I didn't mean to cut you off with that
No,
before.
go ahead.
But when you no, so I want you to go on with the going into like the Mongs and with the what was it, like the Laotian Civil War when that always makes me think of King of the Hill when I'm from Laos, so are you Chinese or Japanese? You got Cotton Hill sitting there, no, I am from Laos.
I know.
Laotian. But yeah, that was like what do we call it? The secret war, basically, CIA. So we went in there and we got all the Mongs and we recruited them to fight against, and this was going on while the Vietnam War was going on. And so Gunners, I know you looked into this, so I'll let you tell that story. I don't want to step over you. So
No. You were actually doing good because I didn't pay too close attention to it once I realized I needed to pay more attention to the names. But what they had said was they had called it a pressure demon, and that it sits on their chest until they die. And this is what the Hmong had said. These people, they had lost over. What had happened was they left. Make sure I get this right, fools. But they left their country and came here. And when they got here, they lost over 100 men. And they believed that that it had something to do with this pressure demon, and that is also where they never figured out how these men died, but it's also where the whoever wrote
Wes Craven,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
That's where that whole thing came from, and it's like Freddy Krueger was a shadow person.
Well, he was specifically a Hatman, and that was the inspiration for Wes Craven writing A Nightmare on Elm Street. Was that story with all the Mongs coming here? It was like 100 young men, and they all mysteriously died in their sleeps. And like to this day, they don't know. They never figured out what was the cause of the death. And they believed in their culture that you would go to sleep at night, and you would have to put like protections in their culture,
Spiritual stuff.
right around you to do.
Mhm.
So they thought that they were being punished because they were refugees. We brought all these people here as refugees after the CIA had gone and made them fight into this war, and so we brought all this crippled people, and the CIA never does anything bad to any places. We never mess up any other governments or wreck countries or anything like that. So after we got done, just totally ruining them, we brought all these refugees here, and they all started, all these young men, they all started dying in their sleep, and they never knew why. And that's why Wes Craven did it, wrote that was his inspiration.
I was glad to know he had that inspiration, because I'm like, where do you get this? And I never knew that. So that was pretty cool to realize, because that's just some scary stuff, those movies.
To me, that movie scared the bejesus out of me when I was young.
Same.
That was the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life when I saw that. And I was young and watched that movie. I'm like, holy cow, Johnny Depp getting ripped apart, drug across a ceiling. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But
I remember watching that as a little kid, and after it was over, I remember thinking to myself, why would anybody watch this on purpose?
that's what
I don't watch horror movies anymore. Only in the daytime.
I always thought you were a big fan of The Ring.
Yeah, exactly. No. That's what I'm saying. The old hag, dude. I could not go to sleep last night. And, it's like we're all piled in the bed, It's like I was sweating. It's crazy. I'm like, let me put some Golden Girls on for a minute.
I think that's something else.
Cleanse your spirit with Golden Girls.
It really, I swear it does. Thank you for being
nothing like
friend.
Blanche. Nothing like Blanche to calm the soul,
I mean,
Well,
I'm
they're
just
all shadow
saying.
people now.
Baker, you got anything to add to this?
No, I mean,
Take it away, sir. Yeah. Do it. Take it away.
I-
I gotta grab some anyway.
yeah, no, whenever I was doing all the research to refresh my memory on this, you guys saw the videos that they were showing, like the eyewitness videos and
Mhm.
and some of those closed circuit television videos, they are compelling.
Yeah.
But then it reminded me of, do you guys remember back in, was it March of 2011 when Japan had that tsunami?
Mhm.
And
Mm.
I remember seeing it, and trust me, this is going somewhere. I remember watching it on TV like as it happened. But what got broadcasted on accident, well, it wasn't accident, what they caught on camera was fascinating, because they actually caught a shadow creature running on top of the tsunami damage as it was trying to, I don't know if it was trying to get away or it was trying to, I don't know what it was trying to do, but I remember seeing that on TV, and I was like, wow, that's really, really fascinating, because that's when I first like started really paying attention to this stuff. Like, wait, what else is out there? But doing this research kind of reminded me about all of that, and of course, the lore behind the shadow people. Like, I think the Native Americans felt like this could have been, interdimensional beings or possibly time travelers. Maybe you're sitting in a corner looking at yourself in the bedroom. Like, what if that's the thing? I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff that I don't even think that the human mind can wrap itself around to try to rationalize what you're seeing.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like I said, some of these closed circuit television footages that you see in these either documentaries or eyewitness experiences or whatnot, it's compelling. I don't know how you explain that away. So it's kind of my take on that.
Yeah.
Of course, the Hatman, Freddy Krueger. I mean, how do you go wrong?
Well, see, and the funny thing with it's like let me jump through here. Hatman too. It's one of those things where everybody they don't necessarily. It's always like a symbol of like an unwelcoming, like bad news, something bad to happen. When people see that, it's kind of looked at in the same way, kind of Mothmanish in that thing.
Mm.
But it's not like when we get to the old hag here in a minute, something that is known to like do you harm, or it's more of like a taunting thing. This thing that it's going after you in a way, like psychologically, like it'll just, stand there and stare at you. Like, it's there, you see it, it's walking by, it's just standing there, staring at you, and you don't, it's like a psychological mind fuck kind of thing. And that was the scariest thing about like Freddy Krueger. And we were talking about it earlier. I think this is this thing that'll just sit there and look at you. But this scene right here, this was always the one. And with Wes Craven doing this, like, remember the scene with Freddy Krueger, okay, original Nightmare on Elm Street. And he could have just run up and grabbed, what's her face? I forget her name. And just, absolutely just got her. But he's running along, like going back and forth, scraping his things down each side, like, and his arms start getting bigger, and he's taunting her. He's zigzagging as she's running away. He's not just running up and getting her. He's psychologically, just getting in her head.
Well, and that's indicative to demonic presences, right? They make you feel dread. They make you feel angry. They also make you feel fearful. I think a lot of that, and even religion, every culture, they all have this same way of describing it, and it always leads back to some kind of demonic or evil, being.
Well, like you heard like the Santeria Catholicism,
Right. Yes.
that comes from Africa, and it's kind of like this African witchcraft mixed with beliefs, and it's very prominent in the Cuban, like the Black Cuban community. And I grew up
very similar to voodoo.
Right. They believe in conjuring up the evil spirits to to put hexes on people and their enemies and stuff like that. So they're constantly like, they believe in all this stuff. And when I was a little kid, one of my good friends was a black Cuban who lived down the street, and I would go over to their house, and
This
it
is his one
always,
black friend.
well, he's Cuban, so does that really count? But I would just go in his house, and you just felt darkness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
yeah, his grandmother would tell him like horrific thing. I remember thinking, holy fuck. She would be like, you better be good, or the devil's gonna visit your dreams tonight. Like all this weird shit. And I don't know, it's just this fucking aura every time you went in that house, because that's what they believed. They were these Santeria Catholics that believed in conjuring up evil spirits for their enemies, and you could feel it when you walked in their house, that there's just this weird ass darkness.
Yeah, it's a different sense of energy. It's weird you mentioned that, but I also have experienced that, where you walk into a certain area and you can just feel this overwhelming sense of dread, or just like, I don't know if it's heaviness, or maybe it's like a subtle panic attack. I'm not quite sure how to explain it other than that.
No,
but
I know
exactly what you mean.
Just in my defense, I am Catholic, but I don't practice Santeria, and I got no crystal ball.
If you had $1 million,
there we go. Yeah, so the whole thing's kind of creepy there. With the whole Hatman thing, the way that they work. Anybody else got anything to add to Hatman before we jump into everybody's favorite?
Nope. I think that we covered at least the lore and the describing exactly what the shadow people and Hatman are.
Right. So what do you find scarier than the Hatman?
Between those three?
Well, we haven't hit on the next one yet.
Sure. Between the two, I definitely, shadow people definitely do it for me. But
I'm sorry, but doesn't the incubus and the succubus fall in that, the Hatman?
Hey, let me say this real quick. Ted Zagan, we will drop the link here shortly, and if you want to come on and tell your story, you are more than welcome to. We're just going over the history first, and then we're going to drop the link. So, yeah, we would love to hear your story. He says he has met the Hatman in person. So we're definitely would like to hear that story from you. Let us just get through all this first, and then we'll do that.
Yeah,
the format of the show.
I don't think the succubus and the incubus fall into that same. I think it's more on the old hag side, maybe.
Speaking of, so KJ says this is her favorite. KJ, you still with us? She snuck away. All right. So, anybody want to take this one away?
I don't know tons about the hag.
All right. So, LW, you got this? Anybody? I don't want to, do everything. If anybody else wants to chime in.
Well, so I'll take this one. So the old hag, it comes from various different cultural beliefs. As we spoke about earlier in Scandinavia, it's a demonic woman who sits on the sleeper's chest. You've got Middle Easterns, they call it the jinn. Of course, we discarded that earlier. It's supernatural beings that may cause sleep paralysis. But with the old hag, basically the emphasis is that she visits people in their sleep. She sits on their chest, and she renders them unable to move, speak, or scream. And that's, in my opinion, it's terrifying. As somebody who has sleep paralysis and has had episodes, I know exactly when I was doing research, I know exactly when these people were describing what they were feeling. I know what they felt. I know what they're talking about. Now, did I ever sense a evil presence, or was I ever hallucinating? No, but it's the old hag. I think that transitions across multiple cultures, and it transitions time. I think that that's one of the older beliefs or older stories that's been passed down from generation to generation, and everybody has their own version, but ultimately is all the same thing. They sit on your chest, they paralyze you.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard it too. Like I was saying about my one black friend that I had that TF said, but the Hispanic, like with girlfriends that I've had, Mexican or whatever, or just friends, all their grandparents talked about all of this stuff, and I've always remembered that, like, it just, like you said, passed down through generation to generation. But I found it more in like the Hispanic people that I've known. They talk about all of this stuff, and like scaring their kids about going to bed. If they're acting bad, the hag lady's going to get you tonight if you don't shut up.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. It was a
horrible.
form of get in line or this will happen.
Right.
Now, I mean, could this all be explained from a perspective of, again, later down, science evolves, medical evolves, we start realizing that this is all part of sleep paralysis. These are all symptoms of it. That's how we explain it away. We explain it with science, right? Are we there? Everything that we're hearing from these past times, maybe they didn't have a word or a way to describe what was happening other than, I felt like somebody was sitting on my chest and making me paralyzed. I don't know.
Right.
But we fast forward to like today's age, and now we call it sleep paralysis. We know what this all means. Everybody that describes the same situation, we always say, "Oh, you got sleep paralysis."
Mm-hmm.
But it's still creepy to think about, because people have probably witnessed this or has had it happen before without even realizing, because they thought maybe it was just a dream.
Right.
But like I said, I've had some vivid dreams. I've had actually recurring dreams, which is the weird thing. It's always the same thing. I've had recurring dreams about it. And what's sad is that I've had it so often since I was a kid that when a certain trigger happens in a dream, I am now self-aware that I'm in a dream and I'm trying to wake myself up.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And at that point, it's like my mind is awake, but my body is paralyzed.
Yeah.
So yeah, just reading these first person witness reports on this, and just listening to all of the history and all the lore behind it, just like everything, just like it's like it came to life for me. It's like jumped out of the screen. It's like, yeah, this is exactly what I dealt with. Now I know, like, again, yeah, it's sleep paralysis, but like I said, the brain is one of the most fascinating parts about humans, and the fact that we don't quite understand everything there is to know about it. Who knows what else? I mean, maybe this is something that's hiding behind a veil that we just can't wrap our heads around and understand.
When it was around 2001, when kind of the old hag thing went mainstream, and people started posting the pictures, and that really brought a lot of attention, because, a lot of people started, and that might be like what you were talking, I forget the word. What was that word you were talking about? Like the Jesus face on a piece of toast,
Oh, that's the can't even speak. This pareidolia. Oh man, I'm getting tongue tied now.
Old hag will do that to you.
Yeah. Oh. She enjoyed it as much as I did.
Maybe
more. So pareidolia. Yeah.
Oh no.
So KJ, you're back with us. I knew you were quite fascinated with the old hag. What are your takes on this?
Well, just the thought when, reading about, how people have experienced her differently, like crawling up the bottom of the bed, or, just coming up the side of the bed. Like, that was really insane to me, because obviously, like The Ring or like different, horror movies like that, it's so scary. But I mean, I've been in that, like, no, I'm dreaming and I'm trying to wake myself up, and you're like, you're trying to scream, you're trying to say it, and you can't.
Out those whimpers.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, my husband's woke me up from doing that, and it's like, I was trying to come out, it's so upsetting. Like, I've had it happen a couple times, or the whisper in the ear when someone says my name.
Like
that happens.
This is what's happening to you right here. this picture?
Sleep tight, KJ.
That's why I have my dog with me. I fear nothing. No, but seriously, I've had, just woke up like, Katie, and it's like, oh, crazy.
Yeah, it's all right. So I guess we can kind of go to that. We've kind of covered the whole thing a little bit. How long we?
That picture's horrible. Can you?
I know.
Please?
No, I'm going to leave that up there for a minute. So real quick, I've only had sleep paralysis twice. I'd never heard of the old hag till one of my brothers started talking about. He was like, I keep having this thing happening to me, and he was like, I keep waking up and seeing this woman thing over the top of my brother. He was all freaked out, and he was talking about it, and he was like, I can't breathe, I can't move, and I keep seeing this thing. And he was telling me and my other brother. My other brother started saying, I've had that a couple times too. And so they started looking into it, and then they found like all these other people. And like you said, I forget that word you were talking about there, Baker. I'm not even going to attempt it. But
Pareidolia.
Thank you very much. So they started looking at it, and they're like, of course, they're like, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. And we, I started telling them, it's this word that Baker knows. Baker knows fancy words. So I started telling them it must be the Baker word thing.
Portobello.
And yeah, the portobello mushrooms coming on top of you.
All I can say is get gooder.
So I had twice in my life, I've had that sleep paralysis. And both times I was like in this dream and I couldn't move and I was seeing this thing, but both times my dream, and I don't know that this really relates because it wasn't an old hag thing, but this is my only experience with any of this. But both times I was in the same place. And I'm always going into somebody's house and I'm going to do some kind of work in their house or something. I do, custom woodwork and things like that. So I'm like going into this house. And I remember the first time I had it, they're like, okay, you have to go down to this, it's in the basement. It's in the basement. And I vividly, like to this moment, know exactly what this basement looks like. And I remember opening that door and starting to walk down, and I was in the most intense nightmare, but I was awake. And I was seeing like things, and I go down there, and then it's like, I knew like that I was in danger going down this thing. And then here comes this thing as I get to the bottom. And I mean, there was one of the old school, this is what's kind of funny in my dream. It's one of those old school big screen TVs like you would have seen, back in the late 90s or something, they would look like a goddamn huge, big screen TV, over there. And they got like their little room in this basement, white picket, basement stairs going down. I mean, I know this room so much. And in that dream, it was like the most horrifying thing. Here comes this thing coming to get me. And they had told me, good, I'm by myself. Then I had it again about 3 months later. And I remembered my other dream. And as I was going down there, I remembered a way to get out. And so I don't know that ties in, but that's my only thing. I remember being wide awake and then coming to and being like, oh my God, like what the hell happened? So that's really my only experience with it. LW, you got one?
Oh, I've had that a few times, and I think Baker was talking about it too. And you were talking about the destination. That was the weird part about it. You in the dream, you're dreaming, and you're terrified, and you think that there's a destination to get out of it. And just like, oh yeah. And then I've actually woken people up, like coming out like the Undertaker, in like WWE when he gets up out of off the mat or whatever, he just stands up like that. I've jumped up in the middle of the night screaming, wake up, wake up. Like it's probably happened a handful of times, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And the harder you try to wake up, the darker the dream gets,
So how many times have you had that you can recall that you've had that happen to you?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 times, maybe.
See, I get it 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, wow.
And now, have I ever been to a doctor for it? Hell no. I'm a dude. I don't go to doctors. But just like what you guys were saying, it's just I would be dreaming. It'd be a normal dream. and then something triggers, and usually the trigger for me is being pulled down into something. Either I'm in a bedroom and I'm getting pulled under a bed, or I'm in the water and I'm getting pulled underwater, or if I'm on a trampoline, I'm getting pulled through the trampoline. It's always that I'm getting pulled down. And as soon as that happens, it's my mind clicks and I'm like, okay, I know what this is. And then I remember, I remember I'm telling myself to wake up and I'm trying to scream. You can't scream. It comes out as whimpers.
Mhm.
And the lady now, she'll shake me and wake me up and tell me, hey, you're doing that thing. And I was like, oh yeah. But it's terrifying. Whenever I was a kid, I was terrified of this thing because, like I said, it's the same thing always. It's never different. It's always the same. As soon as I get pulled under something, I know exactly what's about to happen, and it's always demonic. And I can never ever remember the face. I never can. I can't tell you anything other than the fact that I remember hands, and that's it.
That's
I
horrifying.
have one question about that. Why do you dream about being on a trampoline?
Listen,
Childhood.
when you're a kid, like I was, because like we didn't grow up, contrary to the belief, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. As a kid, you go to your friend's house, they have a trampoline, you would jump on it. I know that my dreams, at least, a lot of my dreams get triggered by something that happens during that day. And I'm vividly aware of my dreams. I know some people say, well, I can't remember my dreams. I can probably remember about 75 to 80% of my dreams. So something happens during that day and I'll have it in my dream later on that day. So that's why I bring up the trampoline, because I'm just bringing up like vivid memories. And I don't know how old I was when that happened. But I had to have been like 7 or 8, so it's just, and the whole not breathing thing, the whole feeling like something's sitting on your chest, that is a real thing. The whole feeling paralyzed, that is a real thing. Unless you've experienced it, I don't know how else to explain it other than, yes, it feels like something's sitting on your chest, taking your breath away. Yes, it feels like you can't move. It's the craziest thing. So I've done research on it and why it happens. There's medical studies that show that your brain is actively awake, but the rest of your body isn't. So like there's a part of your brain that's not awake yet or fully aware of what's going on. So your brain's trying to activate the movement, but that part of the brain's not letting you. It's just, I don't know. I should probably do a sleep study, but I'm not going to, because I'm a dude and I don't go to doctors.
Hey,
I'm a dude.
Doctors. Hey, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link while we hear Gutters and KJ have, if you've had any experiences with this. But I'm going to go on ahead, LW, if you want to do that, Gutters, if you want to do that in yours, go on ahead and do that so people can. If anybody wants to come up and tell us their experience with this, we don't want like a 20-minute, but tell us your story with it. We got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? Keep the show moving. But we would love to hear from anybody out there. So I'm going to drop the link right now. If anybody does want to come up here and tell their experience, we would love to hear your take on it. Gutters, you ever had any experience with this?
I haven't. Yeah. Only the induced time when they put me out and I woke up and, I don't remember anything that I said. And Marv said I said all kinds of things, but I don't remember it.
I'll be back in about 90 seconds.
1, 2.
All right. What about you, KJ?
Well, I mean, like I've definitely, I can't remember any of the dreams that I had where I was trying to scream to wake up. But my son has night terrors. He hasn't had one in a long time, but I bring up night terrors because that's to see someone, which my little brother had them too, is so scary. And I don't know, no one knows exactly why they happen or whatever, but they're terrifying to see. So I don't know. That doesn't really, there's something up with that. You know what I mean?
My daughter used to sleepwalk. And she
Oh,
would
yeah.
she'd go out the door if you'd let her. It used to scare me to death because, 4 years old, and she just gets up and walks from
Yeah.
out of her bedroom, down the hallway, through the living room, right in front of me, and unlocks the door, opens the door. I'm like, Kayla, no, 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 no. What are you doing? Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, that's scary.
You know when a kid says they see something, and then as an adult, you're like, go to bed. You're just stalling. You're just whatever. After again doing this research and just kind of refreshing my memory, it just kind of makes you wonder: are they seeing something? Have they been indoctrinated in our Western society to be told that that's not normal, so they just shut it out? That side of the brain shuts out. It's fascinating to think about, like somebody pure coming into this and then say if they see something or they hear something or they recognize something, should we put more weight into that instead of just kind of dismissing it?
Right, 100%. So listen, guys,
For
we
sure.
we got the callers stacking up back here. We've got Ted Zagan coming in here first. We got Buddy Nils coming in here after that, wanting to do that. So let's go on ahead and give me 1 second. Let me work this thing. Let's hear some other people's stories. I would like to hear that. Let me see how we do this right here. Let me go on ahead and bring on Ted over here. Good to see you, Ted. How you doing?
Hey man, do you guys have the video and or the audio?
Video, audio of what?
Obviously you can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, cool. This is actually really intense for me to share. I don't know how seriously you guys take this stuff. I'm also very much a skeptic.
Okay.
I literally randomly came across this podcast while I was just checking my email.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, good to hear from you, Ted. So what you got going for us? Tell us your story. We would like to hear your story, Ted.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for being what language can I use to keep you guys from being demonetized or whatever?
Well, you're doing good, Ted. You're doing good. Just keep with us. Tell us your story. We'd like to hear your story. That's what we'd like to have you do.
I know that during this the podcast, I think it had only been open for a few minutes. I was like, guys, get to it. And I was a little bitchy, but
we're used to bitches around here, so just keep it flowing, Ted. Just keep it flowing.
I got the business going. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be one of those, but I did have
Today, Junior. No.
I had a terrifying experience about 20 years ago.
Well, let's hear it. Tell us your experience, Ted. We'd like to hear it.
This is the first time I'm actually talking about this openly, other than to my wife and the person that I shared it with. I believe you brought up the hat people.
Yep. Yes, we did, Ted.
And I'm actually from the DC area. And when we were 18, and it was actually around 70th Street in Ocean City, Maryland. And it when recently, I only recently started sharing those.
That's very apparent to me. Yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving, Ted.
I'm sorry. It's just not cool. It's really fucking scary.
Well, Ted, just take a deep breath and tell the story. We'd love to hear your story, Ted. Just take a deep breath and let it out.
Want me or not, but I'm gonna let it out right now.
Okay. Don't make me call Uncle Remus to tell you how to tell us.
Who's Uncle Remus?
A good storyteller.
Hey guys, make fun of me.
No, we're not making fun of you at all, Ted. But we
Go.
would like to hear your
We wanna
story.
hear
That's
it.
why you came on, was to tell
Come
your story.
on.
We would like to hear your story. So please,
Yeah,
proceed.
nobody's gonna judge your story or
Dude,
anything like
we
that.
want to hear it.
You know what? Actually, you know what? Either way, like I will say that when we were 18, a friend of mine and I went. We were at the camping grounds around 70th Street in Ocean City, Maryland, and we went to go smoke a nice fat joint by the beach. That whenever like I've only recently started coming up with about this story to other people, and they always ask, I go, "How stoned were you?" But we actually never got a chance to smoke that joint because we ran in terror before we got the chance to light it up. We went to the beach and we were about to spark it up, and we found this like dude in a long trench coat and huge hat was mimicking all our movements up and down the beach. And we were like, all right, what the fuck is this guy doing? Maybe he's one of our friends that was staying at, one of the other hotels around us, like fucking around with us, So we were like, all right, let's go walk up to him. And the guy was just in slightly short. We're both about 6'1", 6'2". And this guy was like slightly shorter than us, had like a huge like fedora, like with a really wide brim. And he just vanished right in front of our eyes.
Oh, wow, Ted.
And then we were like, where the fuck did he go? We looked down to the ground on the beach. Once again, 70th Street, Ocean City. And it's actually, it wasn't
This is
even
in Maryland, correct, Ted?
Maryland. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It wasn't even like that dark. It was like, like dusk. It was pretty well lit. And we
And
looked.
so did this person, did they say anything to you or Ted, or did they
No, absolutely not.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, what was the weather conditions like? Was it windy? Was it cloudy? Do you
No.
remember anything about that?
Oh yeah, it's very fair. We actually had really awesome surf that weekend. Or that
Nice.
week.
Are you a surfer, Ted?
Yeah.
Okay. I got those vibes from you.
Yeah,
Very
isn't that
foliage.
God damn it. I hate it how obvious it is. I don't want to be a Spicoli, but
He didn't say dude once.
I know, but he brought pizza.
oh, did I?
Yes.
Wait, I didn't bring. Did I say dude yet?
No.
Not yet. All right, so
Dude.
Ted, finish up the story. I know there's got to be a punchline to it. Like so what happened? So you walked up, Ted, and you just saw this guy. He comes up in a fedora. You're walking down the beach. You've obviously been using recreational drugs.
No, I had not.
Okay, well you were wanting to though.
Yes, I had not.
Okay.
I had not used any alcohol or recreational drugs that day.
The Hatman said you don't need them.
So the reason I'm asking about the weather, Ted, was it dark? Was
No.
was it light?
It was
Dusk, he says. Dusk.
Dusk. Okay, so
because we were on the West Coast, so the sun would have been going down behind us. So like I'm guessing it was around like 8 or 9. I think you guys are here to make fun of me, but I'm going to stand by my.
Nobody's making fun of you, Ted. Nobody's making fun of you.
That's cool, but either way, like I still haven't even finished the story.
Okay, well, we're waiting.
Not to the worst part yet.
Okay. Well, let's speed it up. We do have other callers waiting to get on. So, Ted, let's proceed, sir.
Okay, then. At this point, I don't give a fuck. But so we walked up.
In 5.
Well, maybe put the counter up.
I get into it right now. Fine, you can keep making fun of me and laughing at me. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Okay, Ted. No, we would just like to hear the end of your story, Ted,
Yeah,
and
just
move along to the
tell
next caller. We would like to hear it. We got other people wanting to tell their stories. We brought you up, so please proceed, sir.
Not that we won't make fun of you, though.
We make fun of each other, so
I mean,
just welcome to the club.
Nobody's
sir.
off limits.
Yeah, nobody's off limits of
Seriously.
getting made fun of around here. We make fun of
None of us
everybody.
are special.
Well, we are.
You're
But
kind of special. Okay, yeah.
Then I would love to beat one of you.
All right, well, finish the story then, sir.
There was an open blank space in the ground. So the person we chased completely disappeared. And a bunch of ghostly, like pale arms came out of this void in the ground and like tried to grab us by the ankles as we ran away.
Oh wow, that sounds like something from what was that movie? Was it Night of the Return of the Living Dead? Remember that happened where the guy's on there and he's like going on. Remember the punk rock movie where it was like they were all the punk rockers and they were going from the thing and it's like
That's when they split. I know that one too.
yeah, he's like it's a way of life. You know, that was one of the best
I'm a
quotes.
punk rocker. I have a autographed Misfits poster directly behind me right now.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, Ted, you got anything else to share with us, brother? I really do appreciate you hanging in there and coming on with us. That is super awesome of you.
No, I don't know if you guys can make fun of me. If it's okay, to be honest, this was very therapeutic or cathartic for me to share this with like anyone that was asking right now. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I just came across it like an hour or two ago, and regardless of how you guys treat the situation that I've shared with you, I really appreciate you hearing me out.
No, Ted. I
Oh,
mean,
well, have a good
look me in the
night.
eye. Yeah, look me in the eyes.
Yeah.
Ted, we really do appreciate you calling in.
Yeah.
We razz each other over here. That's part of the fun that we have. We all tease
Yes.
each other, and we do hope
Trust
you
me.
subscribe and be a part of this more often. We're gonna have different topics, different weeks.
Yeah.
You are always welcome over here, Ted. We really do appreciate you calling in. Can
Yeah.
we get a Ted? Can you tell everybody out there to make sure they've hit that thumbs up before you leave?
Hey everyone, I don't know what channel this is, but like they've let me open and share something important to me. And if you guys like hearing about this, I don't know what they do regularly, but they are clearly open to have people call in and share their experiences in life. And I recommend that you subscribe to this channel.
And tell them to make sure they
yeah.
smash that thumbs up.
That match, but yeah, whatever.
All right, Ted, you have a great night, brother. I appreciate that story. Sorry that happened.
Good
to you. I'm
night,
sure
Ted.
That was terrifying. Ted, we love
Dude, that
having
was
you on.
super scary.
Yeah, thanks a lot. There we go. Ted over
Ted.
there west of the Rockies. All right, here we go. We're bringing on Nils the Iron Wolf over here, going to tell some stories right here. Let's see what Nils has to say over here. Uh-oh. Sounds like a party going on where Nils is at.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Nils, you're on the air.
can we bring it
Awesome. So yeah, this is Mrs. Nils.
All right, hang on. Let me drop. Hang on, Nils. Give me 2 seconds. Let me drop this. Let's see how we do this. I hope you're bringing me something here.
It's good stuff.
Here you go, Nils. Hey, we have guest host Nils, the Iron Wolf, coming on with us.
Mrs. Niels.
Hey.
Yep, there she is.
Off, please.
Gigi, unfortunately, we cannot drop that tonight. We had an issue. It's a software issue.
It is.
Don't want to get into it because I've been into this shit for like 15 fucking hours, and I was like literally ready to throw my fucking Mac into the pool. Anyhow, so this story is about the Mothman. So on November 12th, 1966, a group of gravediggers were hard at work in Clendenin, West Virginia, noticed something out of the ordinary. They glanced from their ditches that they were digging for the graves to see something massive soaring overhead. It was darting from tree to tree. So the gravediggers later described this entity as a huge brown winged human. That was their best description. The gravediggers were scared. Most were locked in paralysis at the time, which says a lot considering their occupation. They had no idea what this winged beast was. That was the first reported sight of the Mothman in West Virginia. They had no idea what this thing was. And it was described as an elusive creature that remains just as frightening and mysterious as when it was, the first time. If you and Witnesses laid eyes upon it. So in 1966, I think it was, 66, it was viewed again by witnesses in the nearby town of Point Pleasant. We live 16 miles south of Point Pleasant.
No.
It stood about 6 or 7 feet. It chased a car of teenagers. Eyewitnesses Roger Scarberry and Steve Mallett told the local paper, the Point Pleasant Register at the time, that the creature donned a 10-foot wingspan, red eyes, and an urge to avoid the headlights of the vehicle as it was following them overhead. It chased them to the outskirts of a town and then ran into a field and disappeared. They know it sounded absurd. They were afraid to report it, this flying, giant, moth-like creature. But others had reported it as well in the area. So the reporters were a bit skeptical, naturally, and folks believed that the Mothman was nothing more than an overgrown owl or an eagle that was spotted and kids were on drugs because it was the 60s. So the reporters did print
Blankly story. Like
yeah, that sounds actually when you said that, I'm like,
no, I do
owls,
love
wingspan.
The whole, right.
Or like,
I do love the whole Mothman story.
I don't know about it. I'm
and
intrigued.
that's something KJ that we would like to, even though your name says Baker, let's switch that. That is something KJ Nils, we do want to touch on the Mothman one night.
Yeah, I don't know this. So that's interesting.
Riddle me this, Nils. Have
Yes.
you ever had any experiences with sleep paralysis?
Yes.
Do you know? That's kind of where we're going tonight. I don't want to like give away all the Mothman stuff because we want to revisit that topic.
That's a good idea.
That's understandable. I was going into that with those that had visited the Mothman that had sleep paralysis in our area that we have actually talked to, other than what was reported in the register. But I'm all for doing a Mothman thing. So,
and if you would like to come on that night and be like we can work something out there because I want to save that. So. We do have Nils, and I just want to we do. You see what we're doing here? We're trying to keep this moving. We do have 3 other callers waiting to come on. So what do you got for us, Nils? Love you, brother. What do you got for us?
So when I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, I did have a sleep paralysis event one time. That was a shadow figure, and it felt comfortable, like it wasn't threatening, like a relative, but it was dressed in a different time. And
but you had a relative that was supposed to be on the Silver Bridge incident.
That is true. So I had woken and saw this figure, and it was strange. It was like a shadow figure, but you could actually see what it was wearing at the same time. It was just very dark, and I couldn't move. Like I could breathe, but I couldn't move. And it had crossed the bottom of the bed from the other side of the room towards me, and I was just immobilized. Was the best experience that I could describe. But it was like it was a scary experience because I couldn't move. Like you can't roll over, you can't crawl up in the bed, you can't crawl to the other side of the bed. You're just fixated and hyper focused on this shadow figure, but at the same time you could see exactly what it was wearing. It was a very, very unique, weird experience. And when it came to my side of the bed and it touched my arm, that sleep paralysis ended.
I'm going to bed.
That sleep paralysis ended.
Oh wow.
It dissipated, and I woke up and I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't sleep for the rest of the night, and it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was. So whether some people say it was a message or whatever, I don't know what the hell it was, but I remember the experience. I don't try to interpret it. It was very different, and that was that. That was my one sleep paralysis experience. The second one was when I had pneumonia. I was 13 years old.
It always seems to come when you're down and out, you know.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
and people in the back,
yeah.
Callers in the back, hang in there. Just 1 second. We got MG Goose Sports. We got Nate the Great back here as well, hanging out. We'll bring you up here in just 1 second.
Yeah. So the second experience was I had pneumonia. It was 2 years after we were in America. I was 13. Um, I was really bad with pneumonia. I was out of school for like 2 months, and yeah, I had a fever. So regardless of like hallucinations from the fever, I couldn't move. I remember.
Come on, somebody wants to say more cowbell.
Yeah, I remember looking out my bedroom window and across. I was in South Carolina at the time, and seeing across the wood line, I saw like this giant. I mean, it was just this huge giant with a club, and he was coming for me, and he was like mashing up trees. Like nobody else could see him at the time, so I just wrote it off as hallucinations from fever from pneumonia. And as he got closer, then I like left my body. So it was like a sleep paralysis / near death experience. And I was maybe 30, 40 feet above my body and then just right back in. And then that giant had disappeared. And as soon as I had come to, I started screaming. My mother ran into the room. She took my temperature. It was obvious fever. It was like 102.7. And that's what I wrote it off was just hallucination due to a fever. But it was so vivid. It was so clear. Damn. It was just very realistic. It was that vivid.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, brother. I had pneumonia and RSV in November, and I had one of the craziest dreams ever. I won't bore with that long story. I'll tell it later, but I know exactly what you're talking about when you're sick and have a fever. Crazy dreams. Crazy dream.
Yeah, you couldn't move. You could see everything, but you couldn't move. It was so weird. But you could experience everything very vividly around you, as clear as reality. That was crazy.
Oh wow. Well,
But
Nils,
I've had a lot of. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I've had a lot of dreams, but
they've all been.
I never. Dude. No. No, but seriously.
Victoria
They
been involved, was it?
No, definitely not. No, but anyway, so I have the dreams I have are vivid. I never remember them. I can never remember them, but then when I have them again, I'm like, I had that dream before. But and they're not, I don't have, the few times I've had where I couldn't talk, like I don't remember them. I can never tell you what happened. I don't see things.
My wife's
Like-
the same way. It's very weird. And even if you dream every now and again, whether it's good or bad, like 2 nights ago, literally, TF, you'll love this. So we're getting ready to launch a new product and a new company. And
Right. We heard about that earlier. So what happened?
Yeah. So 2 nights ago, I had this really weird vision, and I had been asleep maybe 3.5 hours. And I woke up, and literally in this vision, which was like a dream, of all this stuff going on. And basically it was like a launch party was the way that I took it. And I woke up. It was so clear. It was so vivid that there were so many people in this mansion. It's like somewhere you've never been before. And you were there. Gigi was there. Harley Dad. I'm like everyone we know. Drew was there. G2K. Scotty was even there. It was weird. But the one vivid thing I remember is I was off at a meeting or something. And then when we had the launch party or some shit like that, I don't know what it was, but everybody was celebrating. When I walked in the house, everybody had dress shoes on. Everybody was in formal attire.
And you were in your underpants. It's like that dream that you had.
Like that.
Not
like
even.
You went to school, you're like, oh no, I'm in my underpants.
You would think that, hey, I was naked and I showed up in this party.
We do have to get it right. Like I don't mean to be a dick, but we do have to wrap it up and get to the next person because we got to keep this moving away.
So everybody had their formal dress shoes off by the door. Like nobody was wearing shoes. Everybody was.
Was this Diddy's place? Wait a second.
No. There was furniture and shit like that, but nobody was sitting on the furniture. Everybody was sitting on the floor, and I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, and it was successful and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, everybody had their dress shoes off. Nobody was wearing shoes in the house, and it was a huge place. And no one was sitting on, except for 2 or 3 people were sitting on the furniture. Everybody was just relaxed sitting on the floor. So I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, that woke me up from a dead sleep the other night.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah.
Nils, launch your thing. Come on Sunday night after trivia. Let everybody know what it is. I'd love to let you promote that. Nils, thanks so much for coming up, brother. I got to keep moving. I got to go to the next thing. But please, we got MG coming up. Then we got Goose Sports. Goose, hang in there for 2 seconds. Let's see what MG's got to say. Nils, love you, brother. You know that, man. You know that. Thanks so much, Nils, for calling in. There you go, Nils, the Iron Wolf. Everybody, give him a big shout out. Love you, Nils.
Love you,
Later, Nils.
He's got a good little bar spot there.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
he
cool.
does.
Yeah, loved
Yeah,
it.
he does. All right, so now we got KJ guest. What do we go? MG coming up on here. MG, what's up? What's your experience?
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Great. What's going on?
Well, just I almost hung up. That first caller was like pulling teeth. Sorry.
That was pretty rough. Everybody knows that was pretty rough.
Yeah. Anyway,
He was just
yeah,
talking about my drunk Uncle Larry anyway. Sorry about that.
yeah. Okay. This was probably about 20 years ago, but I had moved into these apartments. I moved upstairs. Downstairs was empty, and this lady and her son had moved in. They were Puerto Rican. We greeted them. We, meaning me and my boyfriend, he had just moved in with me at these apartments. And we were talking okay. Everything was fine. I told the lady, no, I'm allergic to shrimp because I am. And well, so she comes up the next evening and she brings me a bowl of soup, and and I'm ready to eat it. It smelled really good. Well, my boyfriend goes, stop, because there was a big shrimp in there. And I said, what the hell is this lady trying to do? Kill me? It was just the weirdest thing. Okay, so later on that night, I was mad. I couldn't believe that why would, she do that to me? Well, anyway, we were asleep and I was in a dead sleep. And all of a sudden I woke up and I was feeling and almost hearing like an electrical, it's almost like a bzzz kind of feeling. And I woke up, and I have a weird habit of sleeping with the covers over my head, but I leave a little opening space for air, right? And
Air is important. Air is important.
I've been there actually.
Yeah. and so I woke up from a dead sleep, just feeling this like it was just, so I couldn't say anything, and my boyfriend was next to me, and my back was to him, and I was trying to say his name, like I was trying to say Ray, and it wouldn't come out, and I'm going, what is wrong with me? I couldn't move, but I was awake. I had my eyes, I was looking around, and I was awake, and I felt it, and then I was able to turn my head a little. I had a hope chest at the end of my bed, and I don't know if you guys know what that is. I'm sure Gutter knows.
I love Hope Chest. No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's where my dream's gonna die.
That's
I am
horrible.
horrible.
That's where you put your first set of dishes.
Yeah, and it was beautiful cedar.
All the memorabilia. Yeah.
And I turned my head just a little, and I saw, and the only thing I can explain from what I saw, because it was sort of it was dark in the room, but there was a little bit of light from one of the street lights, and my blind was kind of open, so but I could see it, and I can only describe it as looking like Batman. I don't know, like the wings.
Hell yeah.
And it was all dark and
Wait a
shadowy.
second.
And I went, oh God, I saw it. And I just looked, and then I couldn't move my head. And this whole time I'm hearing the buzzing sound, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't say anything. And I finally said, like, I went, Ray! And I yelled. And he goes, what? Like really calm. And I said, Ray, there's something in the room. And he goes, I know. And I went, oh my God. He knows. Okay, so I'm not, freaking out. It's not a dream or nothing. So I said, Ray, get up. It's at the end of the bed there, at the foot of the bed. Go, wake up, get up, do something. And he goes, I can't move. And I said, I can't move either. And I said, I'm so scared. And he goes, me too. And I said, oh my God, my stomach started turning. And all of a sudden it just went, and it was
So are
gone.
you saying that Ray witnesses too?
Yeah, he sure. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that
Wow.
makes it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because I've had weird experiences in the past, but never with somebody that saw it with me, that was there, that experienced it. And when he got up and turned the light on, we're looking around and nothing. And I said, what the hell? What did you see that? He goes, I could see it from the side of my eye. It just looked like a big shadow. And I said, it looked like a bat, the wings were spread out and it was huge, like big, almost covering the entire length of the room, at the foot of the bed. It was huge and almost over us, but not quite. And yeah, so that was something else. And I thought, oh my gosh, are these people putting some voodoo on me or whatever?
No doubt. Especially after you tried to feed you shrimp a bit.
I
Right.
started drinking some weird stuff. The woman gave me a scarf, and I said, I've heard that demons like to attach themselves to objects.
Oh.
And so I just got rid of the scarf. I took it out. And it never
That was a
happened.
good idea.
Yeah, 'cause I've heard people tell me that they've had this something they'll get from a secondhand store or something, or from the flea
And that's
market.
how Frosty the Snowman was created. Right?
Yeah. With
Aw.
the button eyes tip. But
That's so
anyway, there's my
cute.
story. There's my story. MG, I'm Mountain
Yeah,
Goddess.
that was good.
Mountain
you know-
Goddess.
Mountain
MG,
Goddess.
Mountain
Ooh,
Goddess.
me
Yeah.
likey.
Yeah, I have. I've
MG,
gone
let me
there
ask you this while I got you on the line. So Mountain Goddess. Now, are you tuned in over there on Gutters Pub, or? But I mean, this is streaming out on Gutters. This is streaming on LW. This is streaming out on mine.
Oh, I
It's
love
going out
that.
live on X. This is going out. So I'm trying to figure out like where everybody's coming from. So you're over on Gutters Pub watching, right?
Yeah, I am. And it was
Right.
the weirdest thing because just right before I looked on my feed, I was on another channel and they were talking about demons. And I went, okay, I don't want to talk about this. So I changed it. And then you guys are talking about this. And I said, okay, something's wrong. Something's going on here.
Well,
But
you
I
clearly
just
made
want
the
to
best
drop in.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm on YouTube and this is through StreamYard, right?
Yes,
StreamYard?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So there's my story. It was nice.
Mountain
happening.
Goddess. That is one hell of an intriguing story. It's really been and that's super cool.
Yeah.
Glad you took the time to come up. We're going to be covering lots of other topics, and we'd love if you'd call again and like tune in. Yeah, like add something to one of our next things.
Sure.
You're a heck of
I'm
a caller.
also. Oh well, thank you. I'm.
Oh, I like the way she says that. I think she might be kind of cute too.
Yeah. You know what?
She says, "Yeah." We do that.
I'm Native American, so I have quite a bit of stories about some of the spiritual things that we have done and what I've seen. So, I'll
That's
come
awesome.
back. Okay, guys. You guys take care.
Have a good night.
Thank
You
Thanks
too,
for coming on.
brother.
Definitely.
Take care.
There we
Bye.
go. Mountain Goddess right there. Thanks for calling in, Mountain Goddess. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Awesome.
That was the
Br-
poster child of how to do a call right there.
That was
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that
here we
was-
go. Now we have the poster child of how you really are supposed to do it. What's up, Goose Sports? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
What's up?
My
Doing
mic's
great, man.
My mic's working.
Right. Yep, we
Okay.
can hear you loud and clear. So what do you got about this?
Okay, well, I'll keep it a little brief, but I've had several things happen. That you try to rationalize it, but when I was younger, when I'm talking about grade school, I had used to have nightmares. I mean, I don't know if it happened to y'all when y'all were that age, but I remember I would have a nightmare like the devil would be in my room, laying on top of me. So then this was around the time I was doing my first communion, and so I had my rosary. So then I started putting my rosary over my bed, and the dream stopped. So that was kind of as a kid, it kind of torments you a little bit, but but no, I've had growing up, you lose friends, you go to funerals, and I've had experiences where I think I see them like after the funeral. When I wake up, I see them like sitting in my room. So I don't know if that's really happened, or is that just subconscious in my mind? I went to the funeral, they're in my mind. So I don't know if that's that could be explained, rationally why you see that happens. But the house I live in now, I met my wife. I moved in 2009, but she's lived in this house before that. So, but nobody's lived in this house. This is a brand new house. Nobody's lived here. It's not built on a burial ground. But we've
this is not built on like the the Indian burial ground, like
poltergeist.
Yeah, poltergeist. Yeah. So, but you know how when you lay in bed, you feel like the bed rises, like somebody gets out of bed. So one night it felt that way, and so I wake up and I thought it was my wife. No, but I saw an apparition get up and walk out the room, and my wife was actually in the bathroom at the time. So. And so I thought I was going crazy. So I told her about it, and she goes, "Well, I've had that happen before." I was like, "Okay, so it's not just me that's crazy." And we've heard kind of like
I've had a lot of women get up and walk out.
Yeah, but they were laughing. You knew they were leaving,
right?
Yeah. But so we've heard like voices. Like you can't really make out what they're saying. But and then. Wife's alarm clock sometimes goes off, like it just comes on automatically. And it's that like that white noise, and sometimes it comes off, and my wife and I are having like a discussion, and she's like, "Well, that's my grandmother telling you to shut up." But the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, I'll leave it on this last thing.
No, you don't have to run. You don't have to run.
No, you're doing, yeah.
You're great. You're great.
The weirdest thing that's really happened to me, then it really freaked me out, was I know exactly the night it was. It was a Super Bowl night. It was actually the year after the Saints won. So I think Pittsburgh played Green Bay.
That's awesome.
So this traumatized me. So my wife worked out. My wife.
Notice they always get you when you're down.
Yeah. So I was laying in bed, and I was going to sleep. It was nighttime. So I used to leave my laptop in my room, and and so all of a sudden I feel something like poke me, and I thought I heard a whisper, "What's the password?" So I wake up and my computer is on.
That was your girl.
It's on the login screen, like the password login screen. So it really freaked me out. I'm like, so ever since then, the laptop's like somewhere else. He
changed those passwords. He definitely changed those passwords.
Password. I mean, it was vivid. I mean, I got hooked. I heard.
I've done that to my husband before.
But my wife wasn't. My wife wasn't in bed, so it wasn't. I can't. She can't say she did it because she wasn't.
No, probably your girlfriend.
So,
wife was away. It was probably the girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
What's the password?
What's the password? So that really freaked me out. I didn't go to bed that night. I woke up. I was like, man, I was like,
change my password.
Password. And it's just, I mean, I don't know how to explain that. Some things you try to rationalize, explain. Okay, maybe you can explain that. Like you watch Ghost Adventures, and they say, "You hear that noise? That's a ghost," And like,
oh, okay. I can't. Those shows don't. Yeah, I'm like, I can't with them shows. I've tried. I'm like, yeah.
And the finding Bigfoot, and they find sticks on the ground. They say, that's Bigfoot. Bigfoot made that. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Smack them together.
Right. Yeah. Did you hear that knocking on the tree?
On the tree, yeah. That's Bigfoot. Like 5,000 feet away.
Remember when that Bobo guy used to go out there and they would be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
it would be and like
Bobo.
Yeah,
Bobo.
Stuff,
No, I don't know.
Knows what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about.
I used to watch that show. Was it Finding Bigfoot? I think it was called, and it was really. I mean, they never showed anything because.
You mean to tell me they never found Bigfoot?
They never found Bigfoot.
Oh, shit. Well,
I mean, it was funny now is about the UFOs and Bigfoot is we don't have
Oh,
those
wait.
grainy.
Isn't this been on for like 12 years or something?
Yeah, and they still have.
I was sitting and talking to this dude and his wife at a bar, and he was like a fan. And she's like, they're never going to find him. And I'm like, 12 years? No.
I mean,
That's
Talk
crazy.
about edge lord.
That's crazy that we're talking about this right now. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, you never notice how there's no clear UFO pictures anymore, or Bigfoot with these high def cameras all nowadays. And it's like, I mean, because you remember the UFO pictures will always be grainy, and the Bigfoot looked like was filmed with a potato. And
Well, did you see the thing recently? Recently, who was it? One of the famous actors. It was Michael J. Fox actually saw and took a picture of Bigfoot, but it
Shut
was
up.
a little bit shaky.
oh, man, that's bad.
Quite clear.
I saw that just
man.
a mile away.
That's bad.
Stop
man.
it. I can't believe you did that. I was listening so intently because I love Michael J, bruh.
Poor Alex P. Keaton is taking
Don't
strays.
even.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's my, Family Ties is my jam, bruh.
Right. Okay.
And
Anyway.
Golden Girls.
And Golden Girls, growing
Oh,
pains.
yeah,
whatever.
Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
Anyway.
All right, y'all talk to
back
Goose
to-
for a second. We do have one more guest after that, but talk to Goose for a second. I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
Okay, 2 seconds. 1, 2.
Okay, so I'm back now.
That's funny.
And he peed on the floor.
So is that the real LW?
Yeah, that's the one and only, sir.
The one and only. Okay.
Nice to see you, bud. How you been?
That's it, man. Ready for football season?
No.
Oh yeah, I was ready about 5 seconds after the Super Bowl's over. We can't talk about sports here. The lady up on the top right, sometimes she rage quits if sports comes up. So
Okay. Oh, I don't want that to happen.
Girl, go on and get it. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna do that to him. But yeah, so
yeah, the pretty
I'm
lady up
just
top will
kidding.
cuss us all out and rage quit if we do that.
well, I don't want that to happen. So,
Good job.
but
Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you, when you had these experiences, was there ever a moment of clarity that you just sat there and you would think about it sometimes? Like you ever, I don't know, maybe driving down the highway or I don't know, you wake up in the morning to read the news and you're just kind of zoning out. Does it ever pop or creep back in your head and you just sit there and you think about it?
yeah, I mean, when I got poked, that really freaked me out because, and I thought I heard what's the password, and my computer's on the password screen. That okay, that's weird. But
That is wild.
that's weird. I mean, I don't know how to, because like I said, sometimes I'm waking up when I saw some of my friends that had passed away, went after their funeral. I saw when I was waking up. So was I dreaming? Was that something was left over in a dream that I'm seeing? I mean, but I don't know. So, or was that them telling me goodbye? So, I mean,
Ooh.
so
Aw.
I don't know.
No, I've known a few people to experience that for sure.
So
Something.
I mean, maybe they did come down to me goodbye. So,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
so that I like to think that. I like to think I'm not crazy.
I like that thought. No, I
Hey,
like that
you
thought.
never know what things like that happen. You never really know what it really is. That's kind of what Baker was getting to earlier, talking about the mind being so interesting and the subconscious. Baker, what was that topic you brought up earlier to me that you were wanting to talk about?
Oh, the human consciousness experiment.
Yes.
Experiment. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys haven't heard about that one, I won't get into it in detail, but it ties into 9/11. It's fascinating.
Yeah, that's going to be another
Did
episode.
you say
we're gonna bring.
Yeah,
experiments
the human consciousness
or experience?
No, experiment. It's an experiment.
Okay, I'm like, oh my god.
I told
There
you the
was
old hag has me
experiments?
tongue tied.
I'm like tripping out.
She won't leave me alone.
Don't. She was horrible. She kept me up all night last night. That old hag.
But I have dreams, and when you wake up, and when I'm dreaming, I know I'm having a dream, but when I wake up, I can't remember. So
Yeah. I have a lot. Yeah.
and sometimes I can. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes they're weird as shit. It's like I was bouncing on a ball in the lake. It's like something like that. So
I
Well,
fall
yeah, you know
a
what?
lot.
When you
I fall a lot in my
when you're up
dreams.
streaming baseball in Tokyo at 3 o'clock in the morning, you might not remember your dreams.
that's what that was during COVID, and there was nothing else
I
going
know,
on.
I know.
Look,
He
he's
was the best
explaining
channel.
himself.
He was the best channel during COVID. It was like everything else, all sports were
Oh,
shut down.
that's awesome.
There was like, and he's sitting there streaming, like sports from around like these other countries over there, and he's like, "Well, there's baseball on in Swahili,
Really?
That's
That's
when they're putting
Krakistan. They're playing, pin the tail on a donkey, and that's Krakistan. He's streaming it. Like, holy hell!
That's
when they're
really
putting
smart.
the cardboard cutout of the people in the stands, like they were fans in the stands, but they're cardboard cutouts.
You remember when they did that?
Did you
and they got
really?
trolled? Do you remember when
Or
they did that and they got trolled? So people were able to buy, and I think this happened in,
Yes, right. They
in
were going to keep buying
soccer.
stuff, right.
Yeah, they were letting people buy like cardboard cutouts of themselves to put in
Yeah.
the stands. And this is one of the funniest
People
trolls
did
I ever
that?
saw.
Please
Yeah.
Yeah,
tell me
well,
that's
of
not
course.
true.
Listen, KJ, listen.
Please
this
tell
is
me
what-
you didn't do that.
No,
Yeah.
of course I didn't. But listen to what happened. So
Okay.
people got fired over this. They were they were just printing out people's faces in cardboard cutouts. So a bunch of people went in there and bought like like horrible people. It was like Adolf Hitler and Stalin and like all these people sitting in the
O.J.
stands.
Simpson, Ted
Oh,
Bundy.
yeah. It was hilarious.
Exactly who you would want to see at a baseball game.
Right. I mean, it was like, what did you expect to happen? I mean, this is like a world of trolls,
Yeah, it was funny.
I would have put Fire Marshal Bill there.
Fire marshal. Let me
Oh,
show you
he
something.
would have been the best. Let me show you something.
Yeah, I would have put handyman.
Oh, Candyman, Candy. Oh my gosh, my
Up,
sisters
up,
were
and
so
away.
mean. My sisters were so mean to me about Candyman.
No, I said
Horrible.
handyman. Remember handyman with Fire Marshal Bill? And then they had
Oh, I thought
Handyman
you were
too.
talking
He would
about
like fall out the
Candyman.
window. No, not Candyman.
I don't
No.
remember Handyman with Fire Marshal.
Yeah. Damon Wayans, handyman. It was he
Was
was a
it?
handicapped superhero, and he would just like fall out the window. He'd be like up, and away. And he would like fall out the window.
Oh, his hands and his
So
facial expression is the best.
I
Such a
miss
good
the
show.
80s. All right.
Well,
Goose,
90s.
I don't even know. I don't even see our other caller still there. We might just get to look at them sleeping. Anybody else that does want to call in, we do. Maybe we'll get to see. Oh wait, he's coming back very slowly, wearing a Freddy Krueger shirt. This is awesome. We do have one more guest to come on here with us. Anybody else that wants to call in and tell us about any of your sleep paralysis or anything like that? The link is pinned to the top of everybody's channels wherever you're watching this. You are more than welcome to jump on here. If you are watching on X and you want to tune in, please go over to the Facebook. The link is pinned right there to the not Facebook. What the hell? Nobody does Facebook. YouTube. The YouTube link is pinned right there. Go over there and click on that. You can come over here and tell us your stories. We got P Digits in here too. What's up, P Digits? Yeah, Goose, you got anything else for us there, brother?
That's it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, telling us
Have
your
a good
story,
one.
man. That was
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
Nice to
All
meet
right.
you.
Thanks a lot, Goose. All right, we do have one other person wanting to come up on here. Who is this guy?
Hello.
Can anybody
Hello.
guess who this is?
Captain Horny?
Wow,
Looks like it. Looks
dude.
like he's been
even
burned a
the
few times
shirt.
too.
I'm so scared right now.
Yeah.
And it's Nate the Great. I didn't know who that was. Until
Oh,
you
you're
took the mask
doing
off.
so good, dude.
I
I
couldn't breathe.
I just met you.
He's like Dark Helmet. I can't breathe in this thing. So Nate the Great, have you ever had sleep paralysis?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about your experience.
Yeah.
I got several, but I'll tell two stories. So basically, I think it was like a month ago. I had like I think it was kind of like the Hag situation
Mhm.
where you couldn't, move or anything. and you're awake and can move or speak, which is kind of weird. And it freaked me out so much. I had to pray to Jesus and stuff in my thoughts, and how that went. But and it's just, it was so creepy at the same time. It was right. My bed's a mess, but it was right on this edge, like sitting like this and looking at me, and it was freaky.
So Nate, let me ask you this. Did you actually see something? I mean, did you see something that
Yeah,
was,
shadow, which is most of us said about.
I mean, like something like this?
Not that, but like it's kind of like a shadow like that, but it's like sit on the edge, like how dads are sit on the edge. Hey, wake up, wake up! It's time to go to school. Kind of like that, sit on the edge of the bed.
Mm.
Like
Look at him. He's got the Freddy Krueger shirt on. Look at this.
well,
I like how he already had that handy, ready to
I
go.
know. Why do you have a Freddy Krueger costume?
Well, I had to make an entrance.
Are you the one sneaking into everybody's fucking rooms?
No.
He is
No,
Captain Horny.
Captain Horny. Okay.
Yes. But no. Yeah. What I did is it was basically like a human figure shadow. Well, I just showed, and it was just sitting on my bed and look at me. I wasn't sure what it was, so I just went back to sleep. So I don't know, but it was weird. And the second story was I still keep hearing this to this day. It's the whispers.
Mm.
It's my name. It's like,
Oh wow, Nate. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. What does it say? Say it again.
Nate. And not that
So let me ask you this: do you see that while you hear that name, or is that?
No, it's just indivisible. It's just noises. But it's just noise. I don't see the figure or anything. It's just the voices all over. While I'm trying to sleep, like it's lay on the bed and trying to sleep, I hear. And even while I'm trying to play my music on low volume, I can still hear it.
Oh wow.
So it is creepy. I sometimes I'm able to speak. It's not like that one time I couldn't speak, but I'm able to speak, and I try to cast it out in Jesus' name, and it didn't work. Although it usually does, but it's creepy. So
yeah, that's really scary, Nate. That's really scary, man. That would freak me out too. Gutters, real quick. You want to give a shout out to Fly Crew over there being a member of your channel for 10 months?
Yeah, fine. He said he's in the ghetto and in bed because that's one of my memberships is in the ghetto.
My mouse was on my.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Fly Crew, you are awesome. Thanks for being out there supporting Gutters Pub for 10 months. I mean, that's like you could already had a baby by then. You would have already gone out for milk.
He's actually been supporting me even longer than that. I think I don't know. I think YouTube screwed up or something, but he's been doing it longer than that. And he gifted a membership. Thank you, Fly.
Let's give Fly something really cool over here. Thank you so much, Fly Crew, for over there supporting Gutters Pub. That is super awesome of you. People like you is what helps keep all these channels going. Thanks so much, Fly Crew. There you go. Look at that. We even got Freddy Krueger dancing over here. Fly Crew, right. You rock, man. You rock. Gutters appreciates it. I'll say it for her.
Yeah. He knows I do.
I know.
Yeah, it's it's freaky, man. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just, and also I like the topic that you came up. Who came up with the idea of the show, the TS?
We all kind of come up with it together.
Okay.
Next week we'll hit on something different. It'll be something different. We will be wrapping this up. We're trying to keep these not too long. If anybody else does, Nate, I'm not rushing you off, but I'm just saying if anybody else does want to give their sleep paralysis, Hatman, old hag, shadow people, anything like that, give their input. Now is the time to call in. The link is pinned in everybody's channels right there. If you're listening over on X and you want to do that, you got to come over here to YouTube, get that link. You're more than welcome to call in. We will have a phone line before too long, thanks to Baker helping me figure that out. Baker, you rock.
I know.
That.
He does.
All right.
That's why I got a mic.
But Nate, the whispering of I've experienced it. Seriously.
Yeah, and I keep experiencing it right now. Well, not
Those
right
were
now.
careless whispers.
It's just, I'm not gonna say more. As to this day, I've been hearing it nonstop. I don't know who it is or what's coming from. All I know is just freaky. But
Wow.
it's just maybe it's from a spirit that.
Well, keep
I don't know.
giving it up, praying about it. Like you're doing what
Yeah.
you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean,
All right, Nate. Well, hey, buddy. Thanks for calling in. We really do appreciate the story. You know, we love you, Nate. Hey, let me ask you this before you go. After your surgery, you feeling better? Everything going good?
yeah, I feel better. Even though I have to fucking wear this fucking brace on here.
Wait, we don't want to see your we know it's Pride
That's
Month,
all.
but we don't want to see your
Dun, dun,
we don't want to see
Buy
your
truck
surgery.
dun.
No,
Nat-
it's just a brace. but-
Nat-
That's
It's
my
just-
month,
yeah.
Nate. That's my month.
Natalie. Okay,
Oh,
no, we're
yeah.
just teasing you, Nate. We love you. All right, there's what Nate looks like now after his surgery. So
That's good. I'm glad. The last time I saw it, he was in the. Yeah, that was good.
I love Nate. Nate's awesome. Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, that was a pretty fun topic tonight. What do you guys think?
Yes, excellent.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Liked it.
Especially getting everybody's perspective or personal experiences. That's good stuff.
And I'm not as scared as I thought I was going to be. So I'm excited about that.
Right.
Wait, do you
I'm
think
like,
you'll be able to
please.
sleep tonight, KJ?
But I'll be fine. My girl's with me.
I could tell you
She's
my
right there.
cemetery story. When I
Oh,
was in
yes.
grave.
Please.
Okay, we do have one more caller coming over here. I don't know that this is going to be anything.
I like the
don't think
grave.
this is going to be anything about sleep paralysis. This is probably going to be the lack thereof. But let's hear from this guy right here. I can't leave him hanging.
Okay.
Slim Shady Kane's coming on here to wrap this up. Look at him,
Slim
looking dapper.
Shady, bruh.
He's
There
in
we go.
prison.
Yeah, what's up, Slim?
I'm not in prison. I'm in jail.
He's in jail. I knew it was something like that.
No, I'm on my smoke break, so I figured I'd come screw with him since he was on. That's all.
Hell yeah.
All right, how's the new jar?
Tasing people. Oh, go ahead.
No, you take it away. So.
I was just going to say, tasing people will work up an appetite for a cigarette.
It will. Now, luckily, I'm not going to say it because I'm going to jinx myself, but I haven't had the opportunity to tase anybody yet tonight. But the
That's
night's
very
still early.
disappointing, sir. That's very disappointing.
The night's
It
not
is
over.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's Friday night. It's not quite. It's about 15 minutes till midnight, so the night's still young.
That's right. That's the spirit.
Honestly, it's actually been uneventful so far. It's just been weekenders for the most part.
Weekenders.
Yeah, don't ask me how, but somehow people just serve weekends. Like they'll come in Friday night, they'll get out Sunday night, they'll be back next Friday night.
Well, here in America, we got convenience jail.
Apparently, Although we did have a couple that were serving weekends that are no longer serving weekends because they decided to bring some shit in with them.
Oh, they just decided they want to stay.
They got upgraded.
Yeah, they got upgraded to full time.
Right on. Yeah.
I think they did it wrong, but okay.
So let me ask you this, Slim. So we've been talking about this show's kind of dedicated to sleep paralysis. Have you ever had that?
Occasional sleep apnea, but that's about it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Any of the prisoners you ever have, did they ever wake up screaming, saying somebody like some weird thing was sneaking into their bed?
Oh yeah, we've got about a dozen crazies that are in med cells. Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally going in a different direction.
Right, exactly. It gets late night. You never know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen here either. Like,
one of the funniest stories. One of the funniest stories my cousin ever told me. He said he was working in a high security prison. And he walked in. He heard yelling and so he walked in, and there was this person. They were in there for doing something bad to underage guy. Blah blah blah. One of those grapeist people. And so right. So he walked in, and this person had actually cut their appendage off.
Oh.
And he came in, and they were bleeding. The person was sitting there screaming and crying and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Well, you walked in. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?" And they ate it in front of him. And that's like the craziest story I've ever heard from anybody working in a prison.
That's literally try Cox again.
Now we're revisiting jokes. Exactly.
I never saw that one when I was in the prison, but the craziest one I've had here is so far. Like, everybody knows the number one rule of fighting. You never want to fight the naked guy.
Right.
I had to fight the fucking naked guy.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was because everybody that comes
liked
it is what it is. Well, this motherfucker thought that he would somehow try and hide about half an ounce of cocaine, and
in the Jello.
Yeah, well, at first it went from his prison wallet to his hand to his mouth back to his hand.
Doesn't he know that's how you get pink eye?
It was terrible.
Oh man. So you like your new job, Slim? You liking it?
Yeah. Listen, I haven't had a job in about 15 years, honestly, since I worked at the prison where I was home every day. And I'll take that.
Yeah, after being on the road for all those years, I'm sure you're glad to be, home with the family, home with the, all that stuff. I look forward to, another year for permitted to go. I'm supposed to go to ACC Media Days here in a month, so we'll see what happens with that. But I hope to get us some good content for our show. Maybe even get, if I can make it there, I'm going to try to get some kind of troll for Sea Dog and Rec Talk from, I'm going to try to get some kind of troll from them. But I've already got the credentials to go. I just got to see if I can make it happen.
Now, I don't know, unfortunately, how my schedule is going to allow me doing post games with you this year. I don't know.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in there with you that are Miami Hurricanes fans. So, we can pass it around when you're busy. Just hand it off to one of the inmates. They're probably
actually, surprisingly enough, the number 2 in command right under the sheriff is a Miami alum.
Oh, there we go. So we've already got it worked out.
Exactly.
All right, Slim. Love you, brother. We're about to wrap this thing up, man.
All right, buddy.
In this thing. I'll talk to you soon. Holler at me, man. I'm gonna see you soon.
Yes, sir. I will.
All right, brother. All right.
Later.
See you, man.
Bye.
Later, Slim.
There we go. Checking in from Slim Shady Canes. Good guy right there. So what do you guys think about everything that's happened tonight?
I enjoyed it.
It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There's some good callers too. I like the way you did the calls, and you know,
The flow.
up.
You kept it going. Yeah.
Good flow. I like the flow.
Yeah, it's hard to do, but I think we got it, and we got a couple callers from outside the box, which I really like.
Mhm.
That's super cool. We'll wait for KJ to get back here before we end this.
Here she comes, I hear.
Yeah, I know. You can hear her walking up. That's what happens when people don't hit the mute button when they walk away.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be back. KJ? Not there. Anyway, so LW, what do you got going on this week?
I'll probably go live Monday night around 10 o'clock, probably. That's about it. So far as the YouTube streets.
So you're going to do Monday night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nothing tomorrow night?
We'll see how it goes. You never know.
Okay, I know the Vicks aren't doing their trivia tomorrow night, so,
All right, so let's ruin YouTube and go live tomorrow night.
Well, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll probably join you if you do.
Awesome.
All right. Everybody stay. Make sure you are, somebody type LW into the chat. Make sure everybody is subbed over there. Just type that in. Nightbot will drop that. If you are not subbed to LW, please make sure you go over there and do that. If you're on Gutters Pubs channel over there, LW, maybe Gutters could drop that over there. Or somebody in Gutters thing, one of her mods could do that. Gutters, what do you got coming up for us?
I have just the norm. Tuesdays, Friday morning, Tuesday.
So anybody isn't subscribed to Gutters Pub, Tuesday night she does a show. It's usually kind of political, but everybody should make sure they get there. Whether you're on this side of the aisle, the other side, everybody is welcome. It's super cool to go over there and actually have discussion and sometimes discourse or any of that, but it is a really good show.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have fun.
Yeah, if somebody could type Gutters into the chat, Nightbot would drop that too. Anybody doing this? I don't know. B Bean typed it. Esso's typing it. Let's see if Nightbot's working.
I don't see LW's coming up.
I think they're putting a space, maybe. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
there they go.
But LW's did. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Nightbot was sleeping, getting haunted by the damn old hag,
Nightbot was too freaked out about this stuff.
Right, exactly. We even scared Nightbot off. Holy cow. KJ, you back with us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we can. You sound like
Okay.
AT&T.
Yeah, I had to change everything.
Dang.
You had to plug it into the microwave.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear us? She can't hear us.
Well, there we go. On technical difficulties. Baker, you got any last words for us, sir?
Everybody stay classy.
Oh, I like it. Love you, Baker. You're awesome. Over here, we do have trivia nights, Sunday nights at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tune into that. You can win some free prizes, shit like that. If you're smart enough, make sure you have subscribed to every channel you are listening to right now. If you're out there on X, please make sure you hit the thumbs up, sub up to everybody involved. Come over here to YouTube and join the fun. And next week, we promise you we will have another intriguing topic to talk about where you will be welcome to call in and be a part of the show as well. So that being said, anybody got any last words? Anybody want to say anything?
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Look at this. Gutters loves having a new microphone.
I do.
Actually being able to, say beautiful things. But we do appreciate everybody.
Friday.
Yep. Next Friday night, right here, same bat time, same bat channel. We do love all of y'all. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. You guys are awesome, and we will see you next week.